Yo, welcome to the Wack Thesis podcast with Keem and Eric. I'm Keem.
And I'm Eric.
The Wack Thesis. Oh yeah, I like that.
We're just gonna jump in with this Latin club. But I saw that they were trying to be like the Latin club. I think they were also doing like EDM and stuff for a little bit too. Like they're trying to diversify Huntsville, but
The vibes are
Not there.
not there.
yeah.
When I went for Mexican Independence Day, it was they moved all the tables and everything out and like tried to make it into a club, and then they had the 20-minute sound check, and then they played like 3 mariachi songs that were good, but the acoustics were so bad that you really couldn't hear a lot. And then they did a parade like in the middle of the like floor, and they all were wearing costumes, and they just kept for like 20 minutes for another 20 minutes straight. They just had the, I think, Mexican independence song or Mexican like national anthem just playing like on a loop continually, and they had all of these people in costumes just continually dance in a circle, including like kids. And then there was one dude who was not in costume, but he was just like vibing. And I wanted to leave, and I couldn't because the space is so small that they were dancing in front of the door, so I couldn't leave.
Oh yeah, I might have to take him there just to show him what it looks like really quick tonight. It's all on the way of going downtown, but it's a restaurant. Like really, what it is a restaurant. So also welcome to the Wack Thesis podcast. I just kind of started. Let me introduce my guests. We got Hannah.
Hello.
And we got Keem.
Hey, I'm back.
Well, Keem's been here for a while, so
Yeah.
y'all already know. He's just a guest now. But so what it is with Hops and Guac, it's a part of this old school. So imagine imagine Stringer Street.
Yeah.
Like an old elementary school that like the building sat for years and they didn't do anything with.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and made it a brewery. Like a couple of different bars and restaurants there. There's this place called Hops and Guac, which like they have the largest selection of like self-serve beer, which is kind of cool. But they also serve Mexican food. I keep having a burp, but it's not coming out.
Yeah. Eric has been taking shots of Douce. If y'all want to know what he's been drinking.
Post-birthday celebration.
Yeah.
But imagine a classroom that they knocked the wall down so it's slightly bigger and they put a kitchen in there. But it's that might have been the lunchroom.
Honestly, I have no idea what it is. Also, they have like mixed aesthetics in that.
Yes.
Because they also have like that Scrabble. You've been, right?
I've been, yeah.
They have like a Scrabble board on the wall, and then they have like this AstroTurf like neon wall.
Yes.
And then they're also trying to be a Mexican club, but then they also have all of this beer and trying to be a brewery.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's
All the vibes in one place.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What kind of music do they play?
I mean, they had a live band when I went,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it was Mexican Independence Day, so.
They play like they might have a DJ there now, or he'll get there by 10. And one night he was playing EDM, but the last time I went there was like earlier this year. He was just playing just like random music. But the other problem too is that it competes with the bar that's like right across the hallway, which is just as loud.
Yeah, I also ran into Roberto. Well, not there, but
Yeah.
like before I went to Hops and Guac, and he was mentioning that he was going to, maybe it was that bar, or maybe it was that speakeasy that's on the other end, if you've ever been.
Yeah, there's a speakeasy here. There's 2 of them.
All right, so we got speakeasies in Dothan, and what is the difference between that and a bar?
The
Do you like
speakeasy-
walk in the back of
It looks like it doesn't look like
a bar,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
walk in the back, and then it's a bar? Okay.
Yeah. So the speakeasy
Well, I
that's
think
there,
they got that word wrong in Dothan because it's just a bar. It's not a difference.
Well, it like comes from like Prohibition era
Yeah.
of like back in the day when Prohibition was going on. They had to like actually pretend like it wasn't a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of just been co-opted as like anything that maybe partially doesn't look like a bar sometimes.
So it can
Yeah.
look like a candy shop, and then you walk in the back, and it's a bar.
Yeah.
That's what SOBs is in New York.
Really?
So like you go to SOBs and it looks like a bakery shop up front,
And then
but you
you
have
walk
this
in-
random security guard standing in the front just looking at you. And then he's like, "Oh, you can come in." And then you open it, and it's an actual club. That was kind of cool.
Prohibition had to be cool a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's cool to do illegal things.
I went to a speakeasy in Portland, Maine that looked like a laundromat, and you had to like open like a laundry door. And
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Did you have to
You
climb
went to
up?
Maine?
Portland,
We got
Maine.
different questions. Portland, Maine.
I
You
went-
said Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Oh, Portland, Maine?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a different
I was thinking
Portland.
Oregon.
No,
Yeah, it's a
Portland,
different
Maine.
Okay.
I went for work, so
okay.
it was not. And then we went to a speakeasy.
Did you meet
cool.
Stephen King?
I did not. I also went kayaking on this work trip, and I was talking to like our kayaking guide about Stephen King, and he's like, "Yeah, Stephen King's like way up in a different part of Maine, like way
Oh,
north
he's
of
in the
Maine."
main part of Maine.
Well, the folks don't visit most likely.
Yeah. It.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen King is cool.
I didn't know that he didn't like The Shining, the movie.
Yeah,
I knew
because it was
that,
so
yeah.
different. It was so different from the
Yeah.
book.
He tried to make his own like Shining version.
I seen it.
and it's bad.
It's not good. It was on HBO. When I was little, like I remember, it was terrible.
Oh man, I missed that.
He's also in all of his movies. Like he has.
Oh, I
like,
didn't know that.
He's like who's the Marvel? Not Marvel or DC.
Stanley.
Stanley, yeah. Like he has like a little role like that in all of his
He needs
movies
to
as
Okay.
well.
I don't know. I've never seen a Stephen King cameo and was like, "Ooh, Stephen King's in this movie." I've never done that. He's cool, but I don't
Yeah.
want to see him in a movie.
You know, after a while, I stopped doing that with Stan Lee. Like I think it was the first Spider-Man. Or it was the second.
Nah,
Spider-Man.
it's still cool with Stan Lee though. And I don't even really watch Marvel movies that much, but when he show up, it's cool. It was cool.
Sometimes.
What part he didn't? What movie did he show up in that you didn't like?
Dang, I didn't think about it.
He's all good. It's all good. Stan Lee, man. R.I.P. R.I.P. to Stan Lee.
I'm trying to think of which movie was it. Thor. I think he showed up in Thor, and I didn't like it too much.
What did he do?
I forgot what he did.
He
Thor was a
breaking?
very forgettable movie. The first
Yeah,
one.
I never seen it.
I don't think he was
I
in
saw
Ragnarok.
the second one. I saw the
The
Rag.
second
Did you
one,
see
I
the
didn't
third
see.
one?
What's the third one?
Ragnarok.
Maybe I saw the third one and not the second one.
Yeah.
I have not a good Marvel. Very spotted. Like
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah.
You know what mine has gotten spotty? What we realized is that like Marvel movies were good like the first 10 years because they were spaced out. And so like you would have some good ones mixed in with like some okay ones. Like Thor, the first two Thors were like trash. The first Thor was okay, but the second one was pure trash. Like nobody liked that at all.
I'm just thinking about how funny it is that I come here and notice that it's dark, and you've been here for 12 years and you haven't noticed that. That's
Never
so
noticed
weird.
it.
That's so weird, man.
I think because like I guess I'm just used to dark stuff. I don't know.
I guess, but if you went anywhere else, it's lights.
when I moved, when I came down here to move, like I did a really convoluted route to get down here, but I went south through Nashville, like to get here,
You did.
and like cutting Tennessee all the way in half, basically.
So you didn't
I-
go through. You
No.
didn't go through Knoxville. You came.
No, I went a really convoluted route for various reasons, but I went I went through West Virginia and then down through Kentucky and then through Tennessee
Yeah,
down.
That was very convoluted.
But one of the that route is crazy because
Yeah.
like there's like at least 3 or 4 hours that you're driving that and you don't see another car.
Yes.
And I'm like, and you're like in the mountains and I'm like,
Yes.
if I crashed, like no one would find me.
That's scary.
Yes, bruh. The drive to Nashville is probably one of the scariest drives. Cause like, so you could take the back road to connect to 65. Like from here, you would take this road, 255 or research. You would take that all the way down, and then you take like a left, and it's like 2-lane roads till you get to Ardmore, and then it connects you to 65. But it's a mountain drive. Like going to Ardmore, you can see stuff, and you're like, okay, it's back roads, but it's not too bad. But when you get to 65 from there, it's just mountains. Like you go up, like at nighttime, that drive is scary.
And it's just like that whole way for like 5 or 6 hours
Yeah.
all through West Virginia and Kentucky. But So I'm from the Northeast, and I'm used to like, okay, there's a city, and then like the next 100 miles outside of a city is like pretty developed and like is gonna like be hot, like there's gonna be stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I got to Nashville, and I was driving out of Nashville. I was like, okay, like I'm like an hour, 2 hours away from Huntsville. Like this is like civilization. Get like maybe 10, 15 minutes out of Nashville. Nothing. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And I was even getting like 20 miles, 15 miles outside of Huntsville, and there was still nothing. And I was like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, what did I get myself into moving to Huntsville when...
You moved to a whole lot of land. Is what you did. I guess that's why I'm so used to it too. Is that like I'm used to getting out of the city and seeing nothing. Because like even if you go to Orlando or Miami, it's like it's miles of nothingness.
Yeah, just dark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why I didn't notice it as much.
I don't know, man. That's still wild.
And then
I just don't understand.
And then I know that the arsenal is there too. So
that's even scarier. It's just darkness in an arsenal. That doesn't. No, that's not a good mixture. I mean, it's good for defense reasons, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
I think also it's because like the mountains are there too. Like I remember I was driving yesterday, and it was dark, and you could just see like the faint outline of the mountains, and then like the moon.
Oh yeah, you'll be able to see the mountains. Well, you might be able to see the mountains. It's not like if you go to like LA or somewhere where it's always people living in the mountains, so you can see lights. It's going to be, you might see a couple of lights, but everything else is just pitch black. Like you'll see downtown, you'll see like the buildings in downtown, and then behind that is just going to be pitch black, and that's it. But I will say this. I guess because of the arsenal being over there, I'm always just like, oh, okay, that makes sense, you know. Like a whole right half of Huntsville is just dark, pitch black, nothing. You can see like the rocket from just about everywhere in the city, really.
I thought it was a building.
That's crazy.
I was barely looking. I don't know. Did y'all talk about? Did y'all hear about Obama?
What about Obama?
Y'all didn't hear any of that stuff.
Wait, what about?
It's like the right wing conspiracy stuff.
Oh, I love
like his brother.
Y'all,
His brother.
No, y'all didn't hear about this. We on different internets. See, I tricked the internet into thinking that I'm like a super right wing person. So, y'all didn't know Obama was gay.
Oh, I knew. I heard about that.
How did that? That's not. Yeah, but okay. So, Obama is gay.
I don't believe it.
And Michelle Obama's Big Mike. That's
Big Mike.
Yeah.
This is like 2008.
Yeah,
like,
it's coming back. It's retro now.
Why does it even like?
It doesn't matter.
Like Obama's not really relevant anymore, in my opinion.
And if that's high
like
take.
he's living, like he's just surfing in Hawaii, living his best life.
He
like,
really is.
And being gay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. This dude at my job was like, "Man, you heard Obama was gay?" I was like, "Yeah, he's gay."
And so what?
Come on, look at him. He's gay. No,
like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. What?
He finished his terms. He's got nothing else.
Yeah,
like,
just chilling.
you know, Obama smokes cigarettes.
I know he used to smoke weed.
He
smoked
smoked
it
weed,
once.
but
He was like actively smoking cigarettes.
yeah, he was smoking cigarettes, and then I think he tried to quit or something during.
During
this.
Yeah.
But it was a huge PR thing of like making sure like he was like smoking like outside like in ways that cameras where cameras couldn't get to him or anything. Like you couldn't find like a lot of photos of him smoking cigarettes because they like actively tried to hide it all the time.
Meanwhile, the other presidents, what else did they do?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
I think they smoked cigarettes. They
Except for Jimmy
there was
Carter.
like a good 10 years where cigarettes were uncool, and then they came back into like we had a good 10 years against tobacco, big tobacco, and then we kind of fumbled the bag there, and it came back. And
cigarettes are kind of retro now. If I see
think because
somebody,
of vaping.
but cigarettes, I don't know. I'm on the fence about them. I don't like them.
It depends on who smoke it. Like if it's, I don't know why, but for me, if it's like a skinny woman in fashion and then she pulls out a cigarette, I'm like, damn, that's kind of cool. But if she's like, I don't know, maybe I'm sizest or whatever you want to call
Sizest?
it. I guess so. Because if it's like a bigger woman, you're like, oh, she just smoking cigarettes. But if it's like a woman who looks like she's into fashion, and then she pulls out the cigarette. I guess it's like the French thing. Didn't they say like?
It's
French
just if
people-
somebody's
I mean, like-
attractive. they
I
pull
mean,
out
like
a cigarette.
Europeans smoke a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
If,
So, like,
if
if they
somebody's
look-
attractive and they pull out a cigarette, you're gonna like, ooh. It made them look cooler.
Yeah,
But nah.
I smoked cigarettes when I lived in Europe.
for real.
Yeah.
See, I feel like that's
Only
what
when
do.
you lived in Europe, you didn't.
Because it was so cheap. Like cigarettes are so like you could get a pack of like not they. So when I was in Italy, they do like they don't. You can get packs of cigarettes that are like already have tobacco in it, but it's really popular to get like a pack of 90 like filled like unfilled rolls basically, and just roll your own tobacco. And so you could get like a pack of 90 and some tobacco for like a few euros.
Man.
And that's
That sound-
like four packs of cigarettes for like $3. Like,
That's a really good deal. But
and you
then-
can smoke in bars
But
and
then
like.
you
that's
can
kinda cool,
smoke
too.
the cigarettes. When I smoke cigarettes, I don't know. Like it's cool and it relaxes you, but
I love cigarettes. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but like anytime someone's smoking outside and there's like that like fumes of secondhand smoke, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is like I'm
That
into
rush.
it. I'm into it. Like
I don't like the smell of cigarettes.
I've got used to them going to bars.
Oh yeah.
love it.
Well, the bar we're going to tonight won't be.
Do they let you vape?
No,
I don't. Do they let you vape at Sellers?
I honestly don't know. Have you been to the bar in Providence? That like, God, I can't even think of the name.
Furniture Factory.
No, but it's near Furniture Factory. It's like kind of like a rednecky bar. I feel like.
I only know a Furniture Factory.
It's barbecue. They do barbecue.
Moe's.
Yes, I feel like
That's
they.
a bar too.
Yeah, it's a bar. I think yeah, and
Okay.
but they smoke. I'm pretty sure you can smoke in there.
That is. I don't know if Moe's knows what it wants to be because it also like the one that is by Stella's also does the same thing, where it's like it turns into like a bar.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know if I want barbecue and beer at the. Well, I mean, at-
Yeah, I've only been there when it's been like a bar.
yeah.
So I haven't been there when it's like barbecue.
That is. It's a weird place, but
Okay, so the Obama thing. All right, so like, and then his cook drowned in front of his house. Did you hear about that?
no,
I
Nobody-
did hear about that.
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong.
But
end
like,
of it.
what are you? What's the connection here?
I don't
like
know.
Him, like he was
But
gay
it-
and he was with his like cook, and then he had
what
to
if he's
kill
trying
him.
to
Like
cover-
that's
That's what I'm thinking too.
But look, you gotta think about it. Conspiracy theory is just fan fiction for real life. That's what I feel like. You just really it's entertaining. I don't believe it, but it's really entertaining. And I don't know. Maybe it's something there.
I don't know what the story.
I'm just throwing out interesting stuff to talk about on the podcast.
I mean,
I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
let me ask you something.
Okay.
Let me ask both of y'all this: would you fondle Lauren Boebert in front of everybody?
no. Why?
I'm just.
What movie were they?
There was
at the movie.
Beetlejuice.
They was watching Beetlejuice
like a
play.
musical. Like
Like
a
the musical.
First off, I wouldn't be taking her to a fucking
Would I
musical. Right?
fondle Lauren Boebert at
Boebert,
Beetlejuice?
Boebert.
Boebert. If I don't know Beetlejuice. I don't know. Have y'all seen the movie?
I've seen the movie.
I got invited to go to like the musical when it was on Broadway. And
For real?
yeah, a guy invited me, and I was like, "This would be like the worst." Well, he was also like, "Yeah, because I was living in DC at the time, and so he's like, okay, we would have to take a train all the way to New York, and that's like
That's like
hours.
$70, ain't it?
Yeah, it's like 5 hours, and like he's also like it leaves at like 6 a.m. and like my parents can drive us to the train station, and I was like, no, hard no,
What kind of songs are in the Beetlejuice movie?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
hard no.
First things first, I'm not taking a woman to a musical for
I
a
don't
date.
know.
I kinda
You
want-
didn't see-
Lauren Boebert though. Lauren Boebert, come on now.
I don't know.
If this was AOC,
you didn't
I
see
would
the
understand.
episode of South Park?
If this was AOC, I understand though. Like I could get it for her because I'm not saying that Lauren Boebert isn't culture, but first things first, I probably would have taken her to a club. Like I don't see.
It seemed like she was drunk. Like that's like the consensus
Yeah.
is that she was just like
She'll
drunk
probably
out of
just
her
go
mind.
anywhere.
That might be the case.
Lauren
And I feel
Boebert.
like she's rich enough, or like her boyfriend's rich enough. They probably just were like, "Oh, let's go to this musical."
Did you know that she was divorcing her husband? Because
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, she filed for divorce in like May, and I was like, but she's married and she's going on a date with this dude. Like, are they in an open relationship and got caught, or?
And also, her son is
He's
like
a-
16 and
Yeah, he's a baby
impregnated
dad.
someone. Yeah, baby dad.
Yeah, he's a baby dad.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, so she's a grandma?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
the Republican way.
I know, right?
That is crazy.
But you know
You know
can't
the
have
guy
no trans.
from Blade Dynamite is a granddad. He's like 53.
He's like a great
No,
granddaddy.
great granddad. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Yeah, he's 53. That's
Have you ever
insane.
seen Blade Dynamite?
I've heard of it.
Have you ever seen The Dark Knight?
Yes.
You remember the black dude that was like 100? I want 500,000 for this dude head, $1 million if he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is a great granddad.
Damn.
I like that performance. That was crazy.
Hey man, I should have been
I
out.
do not remember his lines from The Dark Knight.
That's the only line I
I remember he was in it. That's the only lines you remember from The Dark Knight?
That's the only lines I remember from him. I
Oh.
think that's the only line he has.
I think the Joker did something to him. Didn't he put the pencil in his ear? Or was it?
No, that was his homeboy. He was
And
like,
that was John Wick. I'm sorry. He put the pencil in his ear. I'm sorry. I'm getting movies mixed up.
but yeah, he's a great granddad because he had his first child at 15, and then his son had his child at 15.
And then I think his son then had 15, and then he's a great granddad at 53.
Wasn't he also in Spawn?
Yeah, he was Spawn.
Oh, he sure was.
Yeah.
Shout out to being Spawn, I guess. I never really
Shout
cared
out
for
to being
Spawn.
Spawn.
Yeah.
My dad read the comic.
For real?
Yeah, because he was like, it's a black superhero. I got to read it.
Is he a black superhero?
Yeah, he's in the comic. He's black.
I thought he was a villain, kind of.
Nah, he's from hell, if you want to consider that a villain.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man, because the only
He
thing
was
I
a
know.
good guy from hell. He went to hell because he was doing bad things, but then he changed his mind after he was in hell, and then he was able to come out and fight.
You
demons,
change your
I guess.
mind after you're in hell?
I guess.
He's like, nah.
No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I always wondered that, though. Like, when do you stop making mistakes, I guess?
You never stop making mistakes. You can go to a nursing home and it's still people making mistakes in their later years.
Like peeing on themselves?
I think just like being a teenager, you make mistakes, but you're just like not like you don't care or upset about it.
Yeah.
You don't feel embarrassed by it.
In your 20s.
Yeah.
And some of your early 30s. I'm just telling myself that.
Some of your early 30s.
Yeah,
I don't make any
still
more
making
mistakes. I will say the one mistake I made, I bring this up every single time, but I do feel like the one mistake I made is talking to a woman who was like, yeah, I'm finna die in 6 months. I still don't know why I kept going forward with that.
Yeah.
And then I laughed at her too when she told me. Like, I just didn't think she was
If she was being like real, that would have been terrible. You would have laughed at her death sentence. That's insane.
That's not. I don't know, man. Because that's not. Is that something? Like, if you knew you were gonna die in 6 months and you were on a date, would you tell that person that? We're talking maybe 3 dates in.
I feel like I would tell them. Because it's kind of like a shitty thing to do if you know.
That you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want her to just like find you somewhere.
I mean, good thing she was lying, but
Oh, she was lying?
yeah, she was 100%.
I thought
We
you were
don't
like,
know.
I
That
made a
was years
mistake
ago.
because then she died and like I'm upset. It's just-
I made a mistake because I knew the level of lies she would take,
That's crazy.
and I was like, maybe she'd be worth it. I don't know.
That's crazy to be like, I want to get out of this relationship or I don't want to deal with this, so I'm just going to fake my own death, basically.
Damn, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I don't think she put a lot of thought into it either, though. Because you could easily find her, probably.
No. So
So she really did fake her
She
own
died.
she
death.
did not die. She did not die. I know she didn't die. At least she didn't die. She was alive as of 2020. I can say that much.
That's
I
like
don't know
3
if-
years.
Oh, man.
That's like a
I don't
3-year
know
gap.
If you noticed something that happened in 2020, but I don't think a lot of them are here anymore.
I don't think she got. Ooh. She might have caught COVID.
Listen. Let's just change the subject back to Obama being gay. All right, so no, I'm joking. So what? How is dating life going now?
It has been trash. It's like, I know that sounds bad, but like, I mean, it hasn't been like one of those things where I've been learning, but I have been almost exclusively doing online dating, and I'm just learning more and more that online dating is not. It's just not the wave. So, to give you a short history of how my dating life has been going, there was a woman, and I'm stupid for this. She actually wanted to be a friends with benefits, and I was like, yeah, cool, I'm down with that. Never hit up. Never hit up. And then one day I hit her up, and I was like, ooh, maybe I won't be able to make it tonight. And she was so straightforward with me. She was like, honestly, though, do you even want to have sex? Because I don't feel like it's going to be this hard for you to come over and fuck. And I was like, ooh. And I just didn't say anything. That would hurt.
Have you ever had like a good friends with benefits?
No. Well, no.
Even the best friend with benefits, it's like something weird about it to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like shit or get off the pot.
Kinda. And I think she's also from like the north. I don't talk to women from the south apparently. But she's from the north. I think Boston to be exact. And I kinda like that she was like blunt and straight up. But
did you ask her about The Departed, the movie?
No, but she knows Italian mobsters.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool, I guess. But
that's real life.
Yeah. But she, I don't know. She was blunt with me, and like she was real cool. Like I like hanging out with her and stuff. But I don't know why, because I was like, oh yeah, I want to have sex with her. But then I know this sounds like a nerd.
Yeah, I want to have sex with her.
That sounds like a nerd. But then when it actually came down to it, I was just like, no. And I don't know why.
Is that like?
Sounds like your gut was picking up on something.
You probably didn't connect to her good enough to.
That probably is the case.
Something was probably like going, like there was some red flags that maybe you weren't like consciously picking up on, but your gut was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't think it was red flags.
What was her sign?
What is her sign? I don't know. So like she could have told me and I probably would have forgot. She could have told me her birthday and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. So what are you? I don't really. I pretend to act like I follow.
I think horoscopes are kind of dumb.
Yeah,
they are dumb.
That's why I was joking. You was about to answer for real though.
Yeah, because
he was like, I don't know. What was it?
I feel bad though because a lot of people are into it, and I pretend like I'm into it, and I don't know anything about it. Like
I was just talking about this on a date. I think it's more. It has more to do with what time of the year you're born. Just people that was born closer to Christmas, I feel like. They're more I don't know what to say. Like they're it's hard to disappoint them. They're always disappointed. Because you're born near Christmas, you're not getting anything for Christmas. I mean not Christmas, but your birthday. They choose either one. You're not gonna get the best gift for Christmas and then the best gift for your birthday. That's what I feel like. It was actually some Malcolm Gladwell wrote about it.
He's born in January, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm like for real. Like it's birthdays in January is rough.
I mean, I'm born in February, not near anything, but
I feel like that's just far enough.
Yeah, you can still get something for. But if Christmas was last week, they'd be like, it's your birthday again. It's cool. You're 1 year older.
I think like if you like all of those horoscopes are pretty vague.
They are.
And like if you get 100 people in a room, like, and you tell them like, do you identify with this or that? Like, of course, like at least like 10% are gonna say yes. So it's kind of just like, I think it's also a placebo as well. Like if you're like told that you are this horoscope and this is what you're like, then you'll be like confirmation bias and say that sounds like me and that sounds like me.
A lot of them are really similar too. So like even if you feel like you have one of the traits, like it's crazy. Because I'll be like, this is a Capricorn trait, and then it's another trait with a Taurus. It doesn't make sense.
I'm a cusp baby, so like they always throw multiple different things at me.
What is a cusp?
So like my birthday is September 20th. Please don't dox me.
You just know the date.
Yeah. So it's September 20th, and I think the 21st or the 22nd is when it switches over to whatever it is now.
I don't know.
What is it, Libra?
I know Libra's in fall. I know Libra's in fall, so that's probably a good guess.
I just know Scorpio, Capricorn.
Scorpio's in fall too, ain't it?
I think that's like October time. So it might be Scorpio. Or Libra, like one of those two.
What's sad is that we can look it up, and
It's
have
not
my iPad
Scorpio
right there.
yet. We just said that it's all BS, and now we're like, what is
What
it?
is it? Yeah, because I
Just
mean, it's
figure it out.
interesting. I think what it is a lot of people use it to try to like define the world around them. But the only reason why I care for it is because like when this sounds sad, when people bring it up, I want to be a part of the conversation. Like, oh, that's cool, even though
Yeah,
I don't
and
believe
then-
into it at all.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool to like. I bet you like when we go to the bar, you be like, "What's your sign?" It'll work now.
Yeah,
I heard
oh, it
that.
100% work.
It'll work on the wrong woman, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone made a point that like horoscopes kind of take the place of like what religion kind of took for a lot of people.
yeah, it does.
Because like people like use it as like, oh, this is like because of this is happening because my sign and like my moon and all this stuff is
Yeah.
there, and it's like
how many witches do you know?
what
Witches.
Oh,
Wiccans.
I mean, I don't
Or
know like
witches,
any
you
like
know.
active like Wiccans, but I know people who are like witchy type.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you know, like
I know a few people. I used to be kind of into witchcraft
For
for a
real?
little bit when I was like a teenager.
did you read Harry Potter?
I did read Harry Potter, but that's not
See,
why
all the
I did
grandmas
it.
were right. You remember they said that if the kids read Harry Potter, they're gonna turn into witches. They were right.
Yeah,
Because
we
I
can watch
read
it.
Harry Potter too, and I was into like some of that stuff for a little bit.
It was like
So-
pretty harmless fun, but I made like a curse jar on my ex when I was a teenager, and
Oh,
then
wow.
his like life kind of fell apart, and I like, and I was like, this might have been the curse jar, and then I buried it in my yard, like in a mason jar in my backyard, and then my parents sold the house. So
Oh,
good luck to whoever finds that.
Oh my god.
He is cursed forever. Did he die?
No, well, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But I can't. But I'm pretty sure he didn't die. No.
Okay. Damn, that sucks. Have you ever? I'm sorry. I just think about that, like, because I was always told when I was living in Orlando, I was told to never date a Haitian woman because if you leave her, she would put a spell on you.
Yeah.
And I think a Haitian woman put a spell on me.
It ain't even just Haitians though. Now look, everybody. Like, everybody do it.
But yeah, my dating life is a bit trash. I've been getting a lot of no's, which I mean I'm not mad at these no's.
What
but
are you
I've-
talking about? Like you just get a no?
People are like, no.
Yeah, nah. I mean, so I say it like this. I also don't put my best foot forward. I think they can kind of see that I'm a little bit withdrawn, so they're just like, no, I just see you as a friend. Also, I don't know. I think that's mostly what it is. But like online dating has been the worst. Like there was one person I was talking to. She was real cool. Like we vibed really well. Like within the first 24 hours, she was like, I normally don't give out my number, so here you go. And like we were talking for a little bit. And we were supposed to hang out one weekend, same weekend of the 80s party. But she was like, oh, I got COVID. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. We'll reschedule. And then when I tried to reschedule, she was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable meeting you. And I was just like, oh, I understand. And I just left it at that, and she never said anything else. I might have said something to her that she didn't feel comfortable with, and she just didn't want to tell me. Which,
You don't know what it was?
I mean, I tried to play it pretty safe. Maybe it was a corny joke. And she was just like, oh, he'll never be a stand-up comedian, so let me get rid of him right now.
I'm trying to picture what you could have said. Eric, you could have said something that was crazy. And
I
you
don't-
don't even remember it.
I do say a lot of crazy stuff.
That makes me think about how, like in college, I did Tinder, and then I got into a relationship, so I deleted Tinder, and then I got out of that relationship, re-downloaded Tinder, and there was a lot of like hate messages that were left like from like
The
previous
old-
matches. Were just like it. Well, there was a few people who were like, if you just didn't want to talk to me, like you should have just said like hateful stuff, and I'm like, I haven't opened this app for like a year,
Yeah.
2 years. And then there was also a guy who's like, yeah, like we matched, we met up, had a horrible date, and then like moved on from that. And then like he's like, oh, let's try for round 2. And I was like, no.
He was like, maybe it was just a bad first day. He was listening to Aaliyah. She told him to try again.
What?
So the thing that I never understood about that, I did it once before too, but the thing I never understood about that, like if you're not getting a response from her, and you're like, oh, you bitch, why you not responding? She's definitely not gonna like. Take
She's gonna be like, oh, Actually, I'm sorry. Let's
Yeah.
date now.
Hey, never know.
The amount of undying optimism that men have for just no reason.
Yep.
Like, I don't know where we get it from, but it's just for no reason. Like, men who send dick pics off of just like the first.
This is the thing. That had to work sometime if they keep doing it, though.
But, like, it's a
I don't know
2%
how.
chance. And then I'll say this. I've never had a woman just straight up, like, I talked to them, like, send me a dick pic. Like, unless we've been talking for a while. I mean, I've heard them ask, but I've never, like, sent it up front. And I've never heard of any person where it works on, where you just, hey, what's up, dick pic?
Well, one of my friends, she said that she got an unsolicited dick pic from, she don't know where it was from, and it actually started the conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not lying.
So it doesn't work.
That is an insane. I thought she was crazy for saying that, but yeah.
She is one of what? Of 100
Billion, maybe a
Yeah.
billion. Like, really.
That's a 1% chance that works, and it worked that one time.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't even work again after that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how so before I started dating my current boyfriend, I was like kind of talking to a few guys just to see like who's out there and whatnot. And I remember this one guy telling me, like, we were very early on in like talking, telling me how he like almost shit himself at a Bernie Sanders rally.
What?
Wow.
And that was like his first two conversations. Like, I was like, oh, what did you do? Like,
Yeah.
what'd you do today and stuff like that. He's like, oh, I like went to Bernie Sanders and rally and like, I don't know, ate lactose and like almost shit myself.
He
Lol.
should have just sent a dick pic at that point.
I was like, I don't know what to do with this information. And then COVID broke out. I was going to tell all of the contenders because I started dating my current boyfriend, but I was like, I should send like a exit note to all of these like contenders and be like,
That is so nice.
hey, it's not like, listen, like there's a guy that I like really like and like I think I want to just pursue him and not anyone else, and like it's not you, it's just like, you know, how the cards fell.
Yeah.
And just send an exit note to everyone, you know, like rejection email from like a job that's just like, you know,
That is pretty nice.
we're gonna go with another candidate, you know, that has better qualifications, but you know, good luck on your search. And then COVID broke out, and I was like, oh great, I can just like pretend like I got COVID and died, and just ghost everyone.
That's it.
But OG, I was originally gonna send like a exit message to everyone.
That's nice. That is a very nice thing to do.
Yeah.
I think if you sent that to me, I would have to be like, you know what? I respect it. Congrats on your fine.
But yeah, Lauren Boebert.
Boebert.
I haven't paid attention to that story at all.
It's really not. So the only thing that made me pay attention to it was one day I was on Twitter, and they was like, you know, this is a U.S. senator getting fondled by another man who isn't her husband in front of a kids' theater, but you know she's also like, we gotta protect the kids from
What
transfer.
kind of fondle was it?
It was like, bruh, it was
It was
like,
hard.
we're gonna fuck. Yeah,
I saw the
we're gonna
video.
fuck tonight.
So it was like, okay.
Yeah, she was grabbing his balls, and he was like, he had a handful of her breasts just like open out in the middle, and I was like, dang,
She grabbed his balls? Why?
yeah.
Why did you?
I guess
Why
she was
did you-
ready. But like the whole thing is, when you read the article, because I thought it was fake at first, I was like, this can't be Lauren Boebert.
But then you saw the video.
I saw the video, and I was like, this can't be Lauren Boebert. But then I saw, was it CNN? It was NBC News. But their article was she got kicked out for vaping. And so they showed the video at first, and I was like, oh, maybe that was like a, maybe it was like a, what you call it, like a deep fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I looked at it, and like they had the full video, and it saw that part, and I was like, why didn't they lead with, they were just being disruptive? Because they were also loud, she was vaping, and they were fondling each other. And then eventually the dude came over and was like, hey, you got to go. Like, you couldn't hear it, but you could see it. And I was like, damn, she was like a teenage kid in this moment.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good for a senator. I mean,
Yeah, I don't like the whole PDA
I'm not a big PDA person either.
fondling in public. That's wild.
So, like, the only thing, maybe they were drunk. Because if it was like a movie theater, I'd be like, okay, I get it, because it is pretty dark in there.
Yeah.
But then you're
So
being
it was like
loud.
well lit. Yeah.
It was
I
it was
can-
dark, but it was. I don't think it was dark enough to where the people next to them couldn't see it. Because like
Musicals are like a little different than movie theaters. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people, and it's like Like, I feel like you don't feel as, like, enclosed and, like, secluded as, like, a movie theater versus, like, a musical theater.
Yeah. And it was like, if the nightlight camera could pick them up, I know people could see them, like, with no issue. And it wasn't like, you know how in the movie theater, where it's like a steep decline?
Yeah.
And, like, theaters, it's like a slow.
It's like an auditorium. Like, off of that real quick. In my anthropology class, my first year of college, there was a dude who would sit at the very front of the, like, so it was like an auditorium, so it's like, as you mentioned, it slopes down, and there was a dude who would sit like right in the front row and look at hentai porn like on his computer constantly. And I was like, this might be like a social experiment. Like, I swear to God, this might be, because he did it every class, and he would sit straight in the front, and like my friend would sit next to me, and like I'd like hear him like actively like deep breathe, because he'd scroll on something, he'd be scrolling down this like hentai porn forum, and then he'd like slow down and stop on an image and then like look at it and then scroll down. And I was like, I swear to God, he has like a camera, like, and he's filming all of our reactions, and we're gonna be like this thesis where it's like, yeah, I could watch porn like in front of like this whole like auditorium, and no one said anything. Like, I thought it was a social experiment, because like what else am I gonna do, just stand up and be like, stop that? Like,
hey man, that guy's over there watching porn.
and it was also my anthropology class, so I was also like, this has to be a social experiment. Like, he has to be doing a thesis or something. Like, there's no way this man is so unhinged that he does this, and also no one said anything.
I wouldn't know what to say to that.
This is the thing. I feel like we know people that would do something like
I had a coworker who did that. I told you, bro. Legit, when I was working at the news station. But I also think the dude had some mental issues going on. But
he got so serious so quick. You just went from laughing to like, I think he has social. Yeah.
It's still funny to me. I mean, he's an older guy.
So what did he do? Like, he just pulled out porn in front of everyone?
He pulled out porn one day, and I remember they were telling me about it. It was like, yeah, we have to like ban them from the computers, because
what disorder is that where you just pull porn out?
I don't know.
It's a lot of people that got it, and it seemed like it's a lot of uncles that got it because they just post porn on the Facebook. You ever seen that?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Let me tell you. I don't know what it is with older white men, but I can't say where I work, but I'll say this. Older white men love showing people porn for whatever reason. And like one dude was telling me, and then they were like, oh, I need my phone fixed. I need help getting this off of my computer. And then one dude was showing me, he was like, you think she's fine, don't she? And he just showed me a picture of porn. I was like, bruh, what are you doing right now?
Have you seen Borat 2? The second Borat?
Yes.
When he's like in the store and he's like looking up like porn. Like he's like
about that part.
He's like using his phone and it's like hooked up to like the giant monitor or whatever. And he's just like Googling like hot, sexy women. Like,
that's really funny.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part. But people are like openly into porn. There was, at least on 2 separate occasions, a guy would have a picture of his wife just naked on like his lock screen. And I remember one day he did it in front of like his sister, and the girl who was like helping him out was like, oh. And the sister was like, yeah, he thinks it's cool. And I was like, fuck. Like, this is not okay at all.
Alabama of them.
Yeah, very Alabama.
Did they have pineapples on their shirt?
No, they didn't.
I know, like swingers.
Yeah. I said somebody, when I was coming up here, it was like so many SUVs with pineapples on the back. I'm not lying.
Yes.
I haven't seen any, but I might not be looking out for them.
They used to be pretty big here.
Because people keep like, if you've seen the forums about like the camp and the Hilton, like the fight that's happening with them.
The camp?
Or the camp in the
no,
hotel.
Holiday Inn. Yeah.
Or a Holiday Inn. They keep like referencing that used to be like a huge swinger hotel.
That might be why it's so damn dark here. Think about it. Like, don't nobody need to see what we doing here.
It is a lot of swingers here. I didn't know that. There used to be, they used to have them all the time. I forgot who told me about it.
Why? Like, why
Yeah,
here?
why here?
Yeah. Like, I get Florida.
Military.
Yeah, military, CIA experiments, probably some.
You went full conspiracy. Don't tell you.
Yeah, that's probably it.
MK Ultra.
I always want to
give
try
us
MK
your
Ultra.
wife. Like that's probably.
You don't try MK Ultra. Like,
Oh, no,
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Conspiracy theory
DMT?
from-
What are you?
That's what I'm thinking of. DMT.
I knew it. I understood. I understood
MK
what you're
Ultra
trying to
was
say.
from the Vietnam War, wasn't it? That whole thing.
it was like
MK
after.
Ultra. I'll talk about it.
Hey man, you got to get kicked out like Laura Bober
Yeah.
from Vapor.
All right, you guys, sit down. MK Ultra is like a psyop. It's like a way to plant ideas or
Mind control.
mind control. Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. That's what it's M stands for mind, and the K stands for control. But it's
Like
spelled
Mortal
wrong.
Kombat K.
It's spelled wrong because the KKK runs the CIA. I'm letting you know.
And then they also use psychedelics.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
used to drug people in like brothels with LSD, and one of the guys, it's a documentary about it on Netflix, but one of the guys killed himself, and like they didn't admit that they had anything to do with it until like recently,
Oh, sorry.
and this happened in the '60s. So
This explains the swingers
Also,
here in
like,
Huntsville.
you said what? It could have been. I mean, think about it. Everywhere. I'm not going into that.
I mean, I guess like also like the military makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Redstone Arsenal is necessarily like a base where there's like a lot of young recruits, but I know if you go to like somewhere like South Carolina or like these bases where a lot of
Yeah.
people like 18, 19, young men are being shipped out and women are being shipped out with like
Yeah.
a lot of cash and like no actual bills or anything like.
Well, I will say this: it's a little bit older here. I think most of the people here are older because the Arsenal does have like military people there, but it's mostly like retired from military and now they're going on to like missile defense. But you have a bunch of missile defense places here. The only reason why I think it's some swinging because it still has a lot of like military ties here. There's quite a few sugar babies here that
Is
people
there?
don't talk about. Yeah, it's. Oh, I can't say too much. I mean, I'm a small podcast. It's not like.
Are you gonna
people
say
are-
a name?
Yeah, so there's a guy here. He called me an idiot when I was on the stand. I was a character witness for somebody when they were being accused.
What's the
of
difference
terrorism.
between that and a regular witness? Do you have to like play
You're
a
just
character?
like you're just testifying on behalf of like
Yeah,
I know
basically
this
saying,
person.
yeah.
And
Oh,
this is, like-
okay. And he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much.
Yeah,
You
basically.
on this
Oh.
character? Okay, all right.
He tried to he called me an idiot in front of the judge. Took a lot for me not to fight him and get thrown in jail. But he cheats on his wife. I'm not gonna say his name, but we know that he cheats on his wife pretty regularly. And there's a lot of military folks here that cheat on their wives pretty regularly. And I've seen at least 2 or 3 different swingers. They may not. I've never seen like the pineapple, but I kind of know through like other people that they're swingers.
I think it's just more common nowadays. Like
That could be the case too.
Yeah.
But these are older people too.
I feel like even when I was in corporate America and like in DC and like that whole crowd, like I feel like older people were like definitely like the cheating and like
Yeah.
especially on business trips as well. I think there's a lot of people who come here also on business trips. Like
There's a lot of people who come here on business trips. But the thing is, the one thing that sucks about Huntsville that I think that hurts the dating scene is that there are way more men here than women because of like all the engineering and
yeah,
missile defense.
everyone I
Oh,
know.
man, what? So we're gonna go to a bar and it's just gonna be nothing but dudes?
Most likely. Hey, I'm gonna say it like this. Usually when I go out, usually the group I'm with usually brings the women. And I'm not saying that like as a bragging point.
They brings the women.
Brings the women.
Dude,
Bring
everyone
the
in my Hebrew, like I teach Hebrew school, and every woman who works there, they're like, I came here because my boyfriend or husband at the time got a job here.
Yeah.
Like no one came here on their own. No women came here on their own volition. They came here like
Unless they went to college. Here.
yeah.
That's it.
That's
Which
crazy.
it's a lot of. I
There's
say
also
this.
a lot of married people here too.
Yeah, it's a lot of single black women because of A&M, but everything else is pretty much like folks came here from somewhere else and they were already married. And I think that's part of the reason why Huntsville nightlife is just not where it should be for the size of the town. Like you got 2 colleges here. Well, you got 3 colleges actually, 3 decent sized colleges, and you would go to the club and the club would still be mostly men. Like It's pretty bad.
Perfect
Sorry,
to the mic.
that's why I was moving away from the mic. But it's pretty bad. This club called Sammy T's. I stopped going to it for a long time because you would walk around and you'd be like, "There's a guy, there's a guy, there's a guy, there's a guy. Oh, there's a woman," and everybody's trying to talk to her, and then it's like, "There's a guy, there's a guy, there's a guy. Oh, there's another."
That
woman.
happened to me when we went to 80s night. I made the cardinal mistake, cardinal sin of going to the bar a little bit earlier than everyone else, so I was there alone. And I was there for like maybe 10 minutes, and this dude
Immediately,
he kept talking to me and whatnot. And I was like, I'm not good at being like mean to people, because I'm like, surely like he's not like, I don't know, maybe I just don't pick up on like flirting. Maybe he was also bad at flirting, but I was just like, I can be nice to people. Like, I don't have to just immediately like to every man who ever interacts with me be like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
don't look at me. Like, I can talk to people and be nice to people, but like, I don't know. He kept talking to me. He was harmless. He was very harmless, but he kept talking to me, and he kept trying to want to dance with me. And like, even when all my friends like got there, he'd like come up to me in front of everyone and be like, "Oh, you want to dance with me?" And I'm like, "No."
he was very weird. I will say this.
I saw him out in public after that too.
For real?
I was out in Big Spring Park with Kyle, and I was just like walking around. We were going on a walk, and I saw him walking. I was like, Kyle, we have to like book it. Like we were talking and like walking at a normal pace, and I immediately just got silent and just started like speed walking, like
Trying to get up out of there. And you know what? He probably would have saw your boyfriend and been like, maybe that's her friend and not her boyfriend. The
Yeah.
dude was weird. I will say this. I agree with you that I think that he's harmless, but also you can tell he was working. He was a weird dude, and you can tell he was trying to work on being more flirtatious. He did end up following a girl.
Oh, I think
that
she was so drunk.
extremely drunk.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was so bad that what were we dancing to?
Thriller, maybe. I
might
knew
have been
Thriller
Thriller.
came on at one point.
I know we were doing the bus stop or the electric slide. And
What?
yeah,
is
this
going on?
It was an 80s night, man.
Okay.
But
It's like this guy found this girl. I think we're doing electric slide.
because the reason why I knew she was drunk is because she kept falling doing the electric slide.
Oh, okay.
And this dude came over. He was like, "Bro, you want to help old girl up?" Because she fell on me a couple of times. And
Dude,
I was
she
like,
flashed me straight up.
for real.
For real.
Oh.
I saw it all. And I was like, oh, girl, go home.
Yeah, go home.
Like, I don't know you, so I can't just be like, girl, you need to go home. But I hope that you have someone in your life who can be like, okay, it's time to pack
I
it
hope
up.
so too, because he was following her.
No, they went dancing and stuff. But I think honestly, I think he's fine. He gave 30s maybe vibe.
Yeah.
He was like definitely older, but not like creepy older, just like the energy was weird.
And he was trying to become more social.
I got the vibe that he was like one of those dudes who may not have been social when he was younger, and now he's trying to get into it, but it's just not.
That's such a huge thing in DC is like
For real?
men who will grind so hard in college, do nothing social, get a like good job, and then like end up like 30, 35 and like have like a house and like money and stuff, but they have like no social skills whatsoever.
That's
Yeah.
very depressing.
Yeah,
It's like a whole archetype.
yeah. And there was a bar. Oh my God, they were talking about that. There was a bar that I was going to go to when I was in DC, and they was like, yeah, that was pretty much the archetype that was there, and I was like, nope, don't want to be there. I mean, I can be awkward at times, but I'm not.
I don't know. I mean, it's less competition if you think about it. If you have like, I don't know. That's how I think about it.
You know what? So you would think that it's less competition, but then let's think about it like this. Let's say you are a woman and you're at this bar, and 10 dudes have went up to you already, and they've already been kind of awkward. That 11th guy is immediately going to get put into he's another awkward dude. Fuck
Just
it.
don't be awkward.
True. But also, I did go up there during the middle of a con to be nerdy, so.
Oh, I mean,
That also reminds me, so when I was in DC, I remember I was actually doing a stand-up show, and it was like for my like JCC, which is like Jewish organization and stuff like that. And anyway, before it happened, like we were all like a lot of people were just like hanging out, drinking, and like talking and stuff. And this dude, that archetype I just mentioned, came up to me, and I was with my boyfriend, and my friend also came with me to like support me. And she was like off doing something else, I don't know, getting a drink, but I was with my boyfriend, and he came up to me and started talking to me, like just completely ignoring that my boyfriend was there. And I remember he said something, and I was like, yeah, well, first thing I said is I was like, oh, like we're like cohabitating, like as a joke, but that totally like went way past him, and he was like, ugh. But really? But then I was like, so this is my boyfriend, and then I pointed to my friend Amelia, and I'm like, oh, and she's like my third, and she's our third, as in like she's the third part of our group that I brought, but like it came off as like she's our third, as like a third is like we're in a polyamorous relationship. And he immediately was like, okay, and then like walked away, like straight up, just didn't say bye or anything, literally just walked away from us. And on one hand, I'm like, okay, props on me for being so awkward that like I out awkward this dude that he got so uncomfortable that he left. But also that was like -10 on things. Like it was a pretty bad embarrassing moment for me.
You know what? I think I can't explain it for him, but I think if you had told me that, I would have like, damn, she just told me don't even try with my friend. Get the fuck up out of here.
I tried to be when I was in a relationship for a lot of my teen years, and then I got out of a relationship in my early 20s, and I was trying to be social. And I went up to this girl at the club because Reddit told me to. Reddit told me.
Mistake one.
Yeah, they was like, just go up and say like, hey, and how are you doing and stuff. And I did this at a club. I just was like, hey, how are you doing? You having fun tonight? And she looked at me and just walked away. And I was like,
that's not funny.
All right. I was like, all right. But the floor can only go so low. So after that, I don't.
True.
I don't really care about it.
I will say this, and it's kind of sad, but my mentor pointed it out. He was like, your problem is going to be that you're going to have a hard time, because I do have a hard time approaching women. He's like, you're going to have a hard time approaching women in the club because when you were living in Orlando, I didn't have to approach. He was like, you didn't have to approach, so I know that's what you're struggling with right now. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you know that? But I realized that, like, even when I think we went to Miami, 2 women approached us. When we went to New Orleans, women approached us. Like, even now, I think the group that we're going out with tonight is going to be, I mean, they're already there, but like for the most part, you're probably gonna have a woman approach you, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, what am I supposed to do? So I don't.
What do you mean, women? They approach you like, and like start talking?
Yeah, that happened to us in Miami.
He tell me that I don't remember that. So 100%. I thought we approached them first.
We did not. Here's the reason why I remember that we didn't approach them. Because
we approached them first, man.
We didn't. I know.
We talked to them. We asked them what time we all get together.
No, they asked us that. This is I promise you, because like I know for a fact in New Orleans we did not approach that girl from Canada. She approached us.
Yeah, but she was super drunk. She was drunk.
He don't believe it, but women do approach us, right? I'm not.
They don't
approach a bragging point.
They approach Eric. When I'm in Dothan, I don't get approached by girls. I have to approach them. I have to at least try to like open. They're not gonna come up to me and just start talking. So maybe you got a friendly face and they come talk to you.
I don't have a friendly face?
You have a friendly demeanor too.
Like, see, that's what it is.
Okay.
So they see us, they approach you. They don't approach me.
Jessica told me, and it always stuck with me. The friend that was supposed to come that isn't here, and didn't say anything. I'm trying to shame her, but she was like, when she first met me, when I first moved to Orlando, she was like, "You don't look approachable at all." And I was like, "Oh, well, really?"
I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know, because they don't happen to me like where.
I don't think I'm approachable either, to be honest, or I don't give off approachable vibes.
Have you ever approached a guy?
Maybe a few times, but I don't know. I think also, not in like the context of like dating and things like that, but one of the things that like I guess, women's street smarts is that, like, you want to be the one approaching men because if they're approaching you, it might be because they think you're a target. But if you're if you need, so not my greatest moment, but I hitchhiked a few times in my life, and like the idea is that you want to approach the person and like ask them for a ride versus them coming up to you and being like, hey, you need a ride, you need something, because then that's like that sets off a lot of red flags. But if you ask them, then like you have a better chance of not getting a dangerous situation.
If you would have asked me that like out of the blue, my red flags would have gone off like this is a setup. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No, but it's like a thing, like, because you're not in control as well. As like if you're asking a woman something or doing like whatever it is, like approaching a woman, then it's like you're in control and you've like kind of sussed her out and decided yes or no. But if she's coming up to you, you don't know why, or like if she,
Yeah, every time I've been approached, I'm like,
yeah,
something's up here.
What's funny is that you asked that about hitchhiking. That you said it about hitchhiking is that when I was working at Disney, this one girl approached me. We were doing the Disney College program, and I had just gotten my car too. Like probably ain't even had it 6 months. This girl approaches me and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like I'm like getting off the bus, getting ready to go home to go to work. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm going home, getting off like with everybody else." And she was like, "Can you do me a favor?" And like my red flags went off, and she basically was like, "Hey, so I got in trouble because my roommate snitched on me because I had weed in the apartment." And she was like, "I think they're gonna drug test me, and I need help getting rid of weed out of my system." And I was like, I don't know because I don't smoke. I don't know what to tell you or what to do. Long story short, this girl spent the whole night with me. Like I made plans and stuff. She just hung out with me. She ended up getting fired from Disney because they didn't even drug test her. They were just like, you had weed, your roommates told on you, you got to go. But I was thinking to myself, like, why did she trust me? And that bothered me for months because I definitely could have walked into like a setup situation.
I think I'm pretty sure the thing that you have to take to pass a drug test, I think it is gelatin packets, because it basically my roommate in college, she got, before she came to college, she got arrested for felony shoplifting, but because she was under 18, it got expunged, but she had to be on probation for a year, and so she always had to do drug tests, so she was very knew how to get stuff out of her system. And I think it's gelatin packets because basically it basically forces like everything out of your bladder, like just everything out, so like the next time you pee, it's like you don't have enough time basically to
Gotcha.
Like if that makes sense.
If I had known it back, well, I mean, she still got fired. I would have been able to protect her job, but she legit hung out with me till like 3 a.m. I don't even know what that girl is doing now. But like I thought I had made a friend that night. And then she was like, "Yeah, they fired me." I was like, "Oh." But I didn't know the gelatin packets. I need to start telling people that.
Obama's cook.
You think Obama killed him?
I don't know. Maybe it was Hillary Clinton.
It could be. Hillary Clinton get blamed for everything.
Yeah. Or maybe it could have been Oprah.
It could have been Oprah.
Oprah's book club.
Yeah.
Oprah's book club's really unethical.
It is?
Like,
What?
I'm pretty sure it's like I think it's like she takes a lot of rights of the book, like when like to get it on the book club, she's like, I'm gonna get a like huge cut of this.
Man, I thought it was just Oprah picking books.
I
thought that she was just like, ooh, I like this book. So you gotta pay to play. That's crazy.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like she gets a cut of whatever profits come from that book. So like you can get kind of fucked over if like
she wants 50%. Well, she probably wouldn't ask for that much, but still, it's not like book writers are getting paid though either.
It was Oprah. I got a really weird relationship with Oprah. I don't know her, but she I don't know, something just is weird about her. You remember when she talked about eating ass on her show?
And
Yeah, she used to have some wild topics.
Yeah,
I
mean,
remember the eating
she
ass
taught
one,
about
but she
eating
had wild
ass.
topics.
She taught. I remember it was one episode where she was talking to this woman that got double AIDS. It was AIDS twice. I don't know if that's possible, but
that too.
Oprah had an episode about it. I don't know. She just had a lot of crazy stuff on there, and she didn't get any
Any
pushback.
flack.
Nothing.
I know the
I've seen some of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life when I was like 8 on Oprah.
She was pretty much competing with Jerry Springer, like her.
Yeah,
older episodes.
it was supposed to be like more spiritual and like nice and stuff, but
well, she platformed Dr. Oz. Like
Yeah.
Dr. Oz got his whole thing.
you know, Dr. Phil.
Dr.
too.
Phil too.
Yeah.
I do know that when she gave away the cars to everybody,
Oh, that's
I think they were on the hook for payments.
Yeah.
no. That's like a huge thing with like game shows and everything with cars and stuff. Is like when you to accept that car, you have to like sign over that like you can pay the taxes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Not
with
on the
like
taxes.
and even with like those house flipping shows, like that fucks over people a lot too because their taxes go up like a huge
Yeah.
amount, and it's like, oh, you won this new makeover, but like now you're also paying like $2,000 more in taxes or something
a lot
insane.
of them ended up filing for. I mean, they got foreclosed on for like a home makeover.
Yeah.
Not home makeover, extreme makeover, home edition.
Basically, if you win a car or anything like that in a game show, like usually they'll either give you a car or you can take a payment out, like just like a cash sum. Always take the cash sum.
Yeah, ain't trying to pay them taxes on that.
And then they'll usually and then you can usually pay taxes like then, like take the taxes out then, and then you don't have to worry about it or be like, no, I'll pay taxes later. Don't ever pay taxes later. Pay
Yeah,
taxes
they
in
gonna
that.
get you. I've learned too. I guess it's good that I didn't win the lottery. I mean, I've never played. So I've never win.
What?
But have you ever looked up like what you're supposed to do if you win the lottery?
It's a same thing where it's like you can either pay the taxes right then and there or they can take it out later. I know that much.
Most of the people, it's very depressing. Like you think the biggest moment of your life is, ooh, I just won, $1 billion. Well, the taxes is gonna come out of it, and that's gonna eat you. But then, like so many people, they say they end up killing themselves or getting killed within like the next 3 to 5 years because people know that you got the money. And it was like a long list. I saw it on Reddit, and the person was like, if you ever, I'm sorry, my headphones are falling. If you ever win the lottery, they was like, what you need to do is get rid of all your social media. Don't claim it until you speak to a lawyer. Have them set out a budget for like your family members to only take so much. When you go pick it up, make sure that you don't have to take your picture. And if you do have to take a picture, wear like a hat.
I like
glasses.
that fucking people on Reddit are giving advice about lottery winners.
Well, it's
Like,
like,
they on Reddit.
They show so many stories of people that died.
I
Like
know,
one dude
but-
got killed by a girl because she was like, "Oh, he got money." A lot of them kill themselves.
the lottery is so like fucking unethical, like in general. Like the amount of people who are betting on the lottery just for it to not get it, and it's like all of that money could have probably just been used better if you just
And
like,
usually a lot of people that are putting a lot of money into that, they don't
Poor.
have any money.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and yeah, it's just like you're kind of betting on a dream, and it's like I don't know, maybe if we had better like healthcare and social safety nets in this country, the lottery
alright.
wouldn't be such this like people's like plans in life are literally to just like win the lottery. Like they're like it's like I don't have to worry about my future. I'll just eventually win the lottery and it'll
Yeah.
work out.
It is like a 1 in like million chance. It's probably higher than that.
it's more likely for you to get struck by lightning like twice. or
Damn.
something.
I have two family members who've been struck by lightning.
Oh shit!
Damn, I'm sorry for bringing that
I mean,
up.
like I mean,
They're still alive.
yeah, they're still
Okay.
alive.
We know people that's been struck by lightning though. They're coach.
Our coach, our coach at school got struck by lightning. He was the only one that would like. He would let them practice in the rain, but as soon as lightning started striking, he'd be like, "All right, I'm done." Was it Coach Golden?
Yeah, and then they made like shirts with him with lightning around.
Oh yeah,
That was crazy.
I forgot.
That sounded like something from like the 80s or something. That was like 2000s Dalton.
Yeah.
That's insanely.
Inappropriate
Yeah.
and insensitive too.
Yeah.
Oh man, as you can tell, we grew up in the early 2000s.
And then which is in Dalton, which is like the 70s pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. When people had moved on from like Soulja Boy and like the Dickies and all of that, I think we were still wearing that.
I wasn't. No, they were. No, this is you still some parts of those that you can still find it.
If you ever want to see how far behind Alabama is,
I don't know. No, I seen some stuff between Birmingham and.
I was going to say go to Coleman.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, Coleman is a very interesting place.
dude, after you told me that, because I went hiking near Coleman. Not even in Coleman. I don't know if it was in Coleman, but it was near Coleman. And you mentioned, like, oh, I don't go to Coleman.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, I'll look up, like, all of, like, deep rabbit holes of Coleman. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. There is still a lot to this day, and I'm glad you didn't run into it. But the whole rule is when you're traveling from like South Alabama to North Alabama on 65, if you need to get gas, you get gas in Birmingham or you risk running out of gas. Because
I
you do
remember
not
you
stop
saying
in
that.
Coleman if you black.
I remember you saying that like 10 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I filled up in Montgomery.
And what's crazy too is that the people that you get, fun fact, what's your boy? Save the Last Dance.
Shannon Tatum.
Channing Tatum is from Coleman.
And he wasn't
Oh, I
in
did
Save
know
the
that.
Last Dance.
He wasn't?
No.
No, he's a step up. I mean, they're all, bruh. Do you
No.
blame me for getting those
No,
movies wrong?
that was 7 years apart. It's still
They're the same concept.
Step Up is a masterpiece. You're wrong. No, I'm joking.
But he's from Coleman. And then, like, the people you get from Coleman, you either get, like, the
Wasn't
folks.
the Wendy's lady from Coleman too?
Yes, she's from Coleman. Not the actual daughter. But
the
you
girl
remember,
from the commercial.
yeah, when she had the red hair and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Coleman, too. But you only get two people. One of two people from Coleman. Or three people. You get one of
Where is Courtney Cox from?
Courtney Cox. Talking about,
Friends. She from Alabama.
I think she's from Birmingham.
Okay.
Let me look it up. But you get one of three people from Coleman. You either get Courtney Cox. You either get like the super duper racist people that you can tell have never had a black person in their house, or you get the people that are like so completely different. Oh, she's from Birmingham, Mount Brook. Or you get the people who are like so nice and friendly, like you don't even understand how they came from Coleman, or you get Mexicans. It's a lot of. I'm not trying to be funny on that. It's a lot of Hispanic people out there because of that's where most of the farms at in like the Coleman area.
I see.
Oh man.
That's
North
probably what
Alabama.
Yeah, North Alabama is a weird place because like I don't know. I guess South Alabama you kind of expect it, but even then because there's more black people down there, it's not as racist. But some of the most racist things and stuff that has ever been done to me has happened up here in Huntsville. Cause like
Really?
You're surprised that the town that harbored a bunch of Nazis during World War II
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
racist upbringings?
Oh man, so that's what we're gonna see at the bars.
you probably won't see it.
Have you? Oh, you would like this do you know about Operation Paperclip?
Paperclip, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, paperclip, yes.
Who told me
Yes.
about it? He told me about it, and I remember you was like, "Hey man, don't y'all got buildings named after Nazis?" And at the time, I was drinking the Huntsville Kool-Aid, and I was like, "No man, Warner Von Braun was not a Nazi. He was just a dude who made rockets." And they just snatched him up and said, "Make rockets for us," and he was like, "Okay." Which I mean,
What did those rockets do, Eric? What did those rockets
I don't
do?
know. They sent people to the moon, I guess. They didn't tell us that part. But now, like when I
Yeah,
finally
it's
realized the truth behind it,
They did not tell us any of this.
Dude, you bring that up to people in Huntsville,
they get mad.
they get so angry.
If you bring it up at the Space and
Why?
Rocket Center, because he helped put Huntsville on the map, pretty much. Huntsville wouldn't be Huntsville without Warner Von Braun, a Nazi.
That's so
Who,
depressing.
who built ballistic missiles to target civilians
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah,
And didn't he hang like Jewish people? He hung Jewish people
I mean, like,
if they were
also,
slow. If they
well,
were like in the factories.
the people who build these ballistic missiles, who again targeted civilians in World War II, their labor was people who are in like concentration camps.
Yeah.
yeah. This just sounds dark, bro. And like,
But
the
think
Space
about-
and Rocket Center just was like, yeah, he had so much of a passion for building rockets that he really did.
What happened before he came to the United States?
Yeah.
Like, what was his life
People
like?
bring that up, and that's what they say. It's like he didn't know he was building it for the Nazis.
Really?
Like,
Really?
I think you would have known a little bit. Like,
I mean, there was a lot of propaganda. There was a lot of propaganda in Germany at the time, but like the propaganda was very much like anti-Jewish, anti-black, all non-Aryan race sentiments at that point. And he was very high up in the SS,
yeah.
so
he would have known.
Dark.
Also, another fun fact is that in the culinary scene, Huntsville's German food is some of the best in the world.
I wonder why.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
See, I knew about that fact before I knew about one of our Braun and who he actually was. I thought he just helped send people to the moon and that was it. Because that's the way that like Huntsville pushes it. And we got to build a name after him.
But it's just like him, but it's not just him. It was like a lot of different people, not just him, working on the rockets. And you're like all of those families, like, and they had kids and everything, and they didn't pass on any of their ideas at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the like 50s in Alabama, they didn't have any bad, you know.
They might have slowly realized, because even when Huntsville still has its issues because of places like Scottsboro and Coleman and some parts of Decatur. Like if you go too far out in Decatur, you start to get to like the racist white people. But Huntsville, the city itself, while everybody else was like, oh, segregation now, segregation forever, Huntsville was slowly integrating. In fact, I had one of my teachers at A&M. She was one of the first kids to integrate. Like she's in pictures and everything too. I need to hit her up, see how she's doing. But yeah, she was like, while everybody else was doing all of this stuff, they were slowly integrating. Now, that's not to say that Huntsville doesn't have its huge issues. Oh shit! Like it's gonna get dark. But the Arsenal.
You don't have to.
I gotta tell him, man. So downtown Huntsville used to be super duper black. And this lady told me about this. It's wild too, because I think she might be in her 50s. But Huntsville used to have this thing called Nigga Day. And Church Street was like super duper black. A&M used to be downtown too, but they pushed them out to like the outskirts of the city. But the Arsenal used to be a thriving black community. And then the government came in and said, we want this land, so we're just going to push y'all to Triana. So they pushed them to Triana. They started running experiments in the water and never told the people, or they were dumping chemicals in the water near Triana and never told the people. And what the? I need to turn that off.
See, why would you not think that they're doing experiments now if they did this? When was this?
Oh, we know they're doing experiments now.
No, I'm saying on us.
Oh.
What do you think social media is?
An experiment.
Yeah, it could be
Like, do you,
MK Ultra.
It's working if it is MK Ultra.
if you like conspiracy theories, even though this isn't really a conspiracy theory, but there's this podcast called Your Undivided Attention, which talks about how like algorithms and like social media and everything manipulate your brain. And like one of them was talking about like how basically social media like uses the same mechanisms that casinos do to make you lose track of time. And like when you're scrolling,
the infinite scroll.
and like you know how like with slot machines, like the pulling down maneuver and like that, and like waiting for the next thing to happen when you pull down like to scroll and you're waiting for it to load, that's literally lighting up the same parts of your brain as you do when you play slot machines.
So I shouldn't go to. So when I go to Vegas, I shouldn't go into the casinos at all. I know they do like a lot of funny things in casinos. Like they don't have any windows. They don't have windows. They don't play music that's easily kind of like defined.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, I've heard like 10 songs already.
They don't do any hard at right angles. Like everything is like you can easily walk to everything. Like every time you make a like hard decision of like turning left or right or like needing to go to something different, like that's when you may like break out of the matrix and be like, I need to actually do something. It's like social media is the same way. That's why you can like infinitely scroll and look at things because like
go down rabbit holes.
Like
That's crazy.
And so the biggest thing about that podcast is one of the things they talk about is like people who are addicted to like slot machines, and they're like, it's not about winning the money. It's the fact that like when you're playing the slot machine, like it almost like you can't like really even take in the other information of like the outside world. You're like almost sucked into the machine, and like it just like numbs everything. And like that's exactly how I feel when I'm scrolling on social media, when it's like 20-30 minutes that like have passed and you don't even realize. You're just like sucked into the machine.
Hey,
and now imagine if they did that, but they're also feeding you propaganda.
Yeah, it's the worst thing we
And
do.
like AI and like AI stuff that isn't even real, stuff that is like fabricated to make you angry or upset. Because also another thing with algorithms is like the things that get the most clicks and the most views is like what they're like, oh, this is what people like, so we're going to promote it to the top. But that's also like the
Top
things that
issues.
get the most reactions, so like things that make you the most angry, the most upset, and it's like a negative feedback loop of like continually. And man, wouldn't it be great if, like, you know, say you were an enemy of the United States and you really wanted to divide the country from within, if you just did that to its own people. And
I
they,
feel like China and Russia does that really well.
no, Russia
against us.
definitely, like, it's been confirmed that Russia is like doing
Oh,
a
yeah.
shit.
Dang, why can't we do it back? I know we're doing it back to Russia. I just want to hear about it.
so many times. Already.
I just want to hear about the results of what we did to them. Because, like, if we're getting hit by it, I just want to hear about, like, how everybody
Well,
else
they
is
still want to keep it a secret because they want to do it to you too.
They already got me.
Yeah, it's not. They don't want to just do it on just other nations.
But I feel like my algorithm on TikTok is the worst algorithm ever. Because it'd be like woke stuff, woke stuff, woke stuff, woke stuff. And then it's something dumb, like somebody falling down a flight of stairs. What's that girl name? Sexy Red screaming on stage. Like that pops up every so often. And that's what kind of like breaks me out of, oh yeah, I'm just doom scrolling. Let me get off.
Mine is just people just yelling into the camera, just so angry.
You know that TikTok can take, and when you sign the terms of agreement with TikTok, they have access to all of your keystrokes.
Mhm.
Don't tell me that.
And
They
that's
know
not,
everything you.
and that's not necessarily
all
meaning,
the hentai you've been watching in class.
but like keystrokes, like say you sign into your, like that's like your whole phone basically.
Yeah.
So like you sign in your bank account and you like put in your thing. They're like, oh, we have that now. Every text message, they might not be able to read your text messages, but they can look at all your keystrokes, and immediately see all of the texts that you.
But how will I get all the new memes? You just deleted it off your everything.
Cause man, now I know they got everything. They
Oh, it's
probably
too
got
late.
everything
It's
they
too late.
need.
They got a file on you already.
Yeah.
Listen, if you think which also the U.S. and the surveillance state is a very big thing, but you think U.S. is bad, wait till you get the China technology of surveillance state.
Oh, it is really bad. Oh, my manager went to China, and he was like, you know how our downtowns, let's say like you go to New York, is loud and busy. He was like in China, he couldn't hear anything. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, they got these noise things that like counter how like high you are, like how loud you are. I was like, damn, that sucks that you can't even be loud in the downtown area.
So, you know how there's like the stereotype of like Chinese tourists like being rude and stuff like that in the United States? The reason that's why like there's that, I guess, stereotype is because like to leave China as a Chinese citizen, like you're only allowed to go on like state sanctioned tours run by the state, and like because like China's not gonna let their people just like freely walk around the United States and do whatever they want. Like they're gonna take them to like, okay, you can go to the national park, you can do this for a few hours, you can go to this restaurant for a few hours, get back on the bus, like that's why they're like always in groups, and like often like because of the Chinese firewall, like they might not like the way there's also like cultural differences just in Asian cultures and, you know, Western culture, but like it's so much more because they're just like not exposed to like Western media or anything of how to act, and they're also on this specifically state sanctioned tour that like they're not like, it's all, even when they leave the country, it's all filtered.
That, oh my god, that makes perfect sense now. Oh shit!
You seen,
I got another dark story.
oh my god, what is going on?
I got dark feelings. Turned 34, became dark. So when I was working at Disney, we would get like people from China all the time that would work for like a couple of months and then they'd go back. And me and my roommate, we were like just kind of messing around one day. I think he threw a water balloon at me. It was like something that we were doing. So he threw it at me, he hit me. And like in our apartment complex, he ran out. Like I started chasing him, so he ran out the door, and I ran out after him. And there was a Chinese girl who was like getting off work, and she was like going to an apartment, which she stayed like across the way from us. She saw us running, and we were running towards her area, but we weren't paying attention to her. She looked at us, screamed, and ran to her door and locked the door in like total panic. And it stopped us for a second. We was like, the fuck was that about? Later on, I learned that like Chinese people are like deathly scared of black people.
Yeah, she probably thought you was LeBron James.
Well-
She was like, LeBron James chasing me.
Well, like, also the thing is like in other countries, especially in Asian countries, like it's very much like a mono race culture.
Oh, yeah.
Like they'd be able to tell, like, even if you were like Japanese and you went into China, which also Japan and China got
They'll
some
get
major
along.
beef.
Yeah, major beef.
But like,
wait, you can't tell the difference?
well, like,
That's-
I feel like I can definitely tell the difference, but like, I don't know, like,
I can only tell.
it's very different. Like,
I can only tell I can't tell the difference between Japanese, Chinese.
Well, like, okay,
I-
you wouldn't think it was like a huge, like, you wouldn't think that it's like a huge thing, like,
because
all
they're
Asian, like, because like we're such a mixed culture. Like,
Yeah.
you don't think of like
Yeah.
nuances, basically.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. But like, there's such nuance that like they can tell, like, oh, you're from southern China versus northern China. They
Yeah.
can tell that you're from Japan and not like.
I'm
It's
going to ask you a question.
yeah.
So, can you tell the difference? Because I can, and maybe you can too. But can you tell the difference between an African person and an African American?
Like, in what way? Like someone who is like lived
Somebody
in
from-
someone who's lived in the United States.
Who's African
We
or
can
someone who's
tell
from
if somebody is African and their parents are African.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we
Like
can
that.
tell.
Okay.
But if they're African American, we can tell.
yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know how. Because every time I ask,
I think
somebody,
if you
they don't
put,
know.
I think if you put me in front of 10 people and like, I don't know, like I think I'd get maybe like 80%.
Okay.
I could do like maybe 70-80%, but especially if I could hear them speak,
Yeah.
I think that would be a huge
See,
red
you would
flag.
think that, but like some of them talk proper, and their parents are African, and you can still tell that they're African.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, you mind if I say this person?
Who?
Uh,
My sister's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Glory. Is
I don't know why you had to say her name,
I
but
don't
it
know.
don't matter.
But she's African. Like her parents, she's of African descent, and we can tell clearly.
We're of African descent, but it's African
different.
American. It's
Yeah.
different. I
It's
don't
like
know why.
cultural.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole different.
But we can tell by the way they look too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can't explain it. I don't know why.
Like I know what a Haitian.
So maybe
looks
that's why
Okay.
Chinese people look at Japanese people and they're like, you're different. They can see it more than we can.
I can only tell the difference between like somebody from like the Philippines or Guam or
I can too. Yeah, I know.
Those are the only differences I can tell. But like if you're a Korean, Chinese, or Japanese, I don't know if this is gonna sound racist, but like there's a very like
Well, the
Have-
thing is like what I was mentioning, like, again, like, I'm just gonna say, like, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna bat a 10
Yeah.
out of 10 average at all. But I will say that, like, I think it can sometimes mask, like, the United States can kind of mask it because we interact
Yeah.
with so many different cultures and so many different races and so many mixed races and just, like, so much on a day-to-day basis that, like, going to somewhere like China where it's very much, like, you can, like, pick up on that
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
so much faster than, like, here.
oh yeah, because they are very like you said mono.
Like, ethnic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see.
I mean,
that.
that's also, like, the thing with, like, the Uyghurs, like, the Muslim minority
Oh,
in
yeah.
China.
Yeah.
Like, they're, like, that's how, like, mono-ethnic they are. Is, like, any ethnic minority, like, Tibet is another example as well.
You know when I
What
saw
is? I thought. Okay, so I've never looked up a Uyghur.
you
But
have
do
to
They're
say-
they-
Muslims.
They're
They're Muslim.
Asian.
They're
Muslims.
Asian. Yeah.
like legitimately, I think it was John Oliver that did a story on it, and I was like, yo, that is like Muslim wear, but they're Chinese, and it tripped me out because I didn't think that the Muslim faith hit. China.
Do you remember the guy that we had at our school that was Chinese and he spoke with a Russian accent and he was Muslim?
He was from Kazakhstan.
Yeah,
yeah,
he was Muslim and he spoke with a Russian accent. It was wild.
Yeah,
he
hung out with.
There was a really good like Vice News documentary about like I think it's like North Korean defectors get sent to like Russia to work basically in like these like log camps in Russia, and they like went all the way on like a Serbian train to like basically Serbia to like interview them and like look at it and stuff. But there's like these like weird North Korean towns like in Russia, like in the middle of like Serbia, Russia.
That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
And it's like North Korean people speaking like Russian.
That would trip me out.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, you speaking wrong? Nah, my American side would definitely come out and say something racist like that.
Yeah. Like when you see like dark-skinned Brazilians.
Well, see, that makes sense.
I know it makes sense, but they look like us. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Really
like
do
this
look
is
black.
wild. Like
when they shot, it was Fast Five when they went to like the favelas. I was like, oh my god, like these people, they look like me.
And they just talk really like Spanish.
Yeah, well, Portuguese.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What's crazy is that like when I was working at Disney, the only Brazilians we ever really saw come over to work were like this don't sound racist, the pale skinned Brazilians, which like I never said anything to them, but then they would talk about like their family and stuff, and they would show pictures, and I was like, your family member looks like me, like what's going on over there? But I know that they deal with colorism on like an extreme level. I think even Miss Brazil for like what you call that thing that they do?
Oh,
over
Miss
here?
not Miss.
It was for
Rio,
Carnival.
like the Rio.
Yeah. The original one that they wanted to choose, she was darker, and they was like, no, we don't want her. So they chose a more fair skinned person. I was like, dang, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I think this podcast is way too smart right now. Let's talk about what about relationships?
Let's go to hottest takes.
Yeah.
Let's end on that. What is the hottest take that you have heard about relationships?
Oh, relationship.
From like the TikTok relationship podcast.
I'm thinking.
I got so many.
I got like a
maybe they just it's just in our algorithm. That's why we keep seeing them.
Fresh and Fit.
Dude, fuck Fresh and Fit.
They got the best, hottest takes. Like watching them, this is how I knew. I was like, maybe I'm a little bit more of a feminist than I give myself credit for. When they had, I think, Keem, you showed me the episode when they had Kevin Samuels on there, and they were talking to like 3 women who were OnlyFans. It was like 3 OnlyFans girls, and then it was like a bartender at like a really big casino. And the way that they were talking to them was like, he was like, man, we're the goddamn word. You can't do nothing about it. And they all got mad, and I was on their side. And I was like, I know that the OnlyFans money isn't going to last for long. But also, like, I'm on their side about this. Like, no, this dude is fucking tripping. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing about Fresh and Fit that upsets me is, like, they wouldn't ever have anyone like me on there, like someone who, like, well articulated or anything like that. Like, they very clearly pick, like, young women who are
drunk
fit,
walking around in Miami.
Like, and, like, fit a certain certain type of, like, you know, they don't want to have a real conversation. They just want to make a mockery out of these poor young women who are now like going to have that digital footprint.
You know what's funny about that? They actually had a woman who fit that archetype that shut them up one day. Didn't say shit to her. You know who Brittany Renner is?
Was she the one who the swim person?
Mm-mm.
I think that's Leah Thomas.
No, not Leah Thomas. Though she's against Leah Thomas. She was the one who got like snubbed for one of the. She's like a huge far right person now. Well, not huge far right. She has like one issue, but.
Nah, this girl isn't it.
No,
this isn't it at all. This girl is a. I can't really explain it, but she fits the narrative of like the women that they get onto. She fits the narrative perfectly. But I don't think it was on their episode. I think it was on another person's podcast.
Yeah.
And
Oh, actually, I do think I know.
Brittany Renner was the one who got pregnant by the NBA player and was like, NBA players are dumb, you know? They're so fucking dumb. You get pregnant by them and now you set for life. She got on the podcast, and I don't know if that was before she got pregnant or after she got pregnant by the dude, but she got on there and shut them up and was like, so, you know, go ahead and talk about these women that you love talking about that are like, ain't good for men. I think the reason why she shut them up is because at one point, both of them probably got in her inbox and probably offered money to her to just go on a date with her. And that's probably why they sat there. But they got caught doing that, didn't they? Like, they love to talk about women ain't shit for always wanting money. But then they were quick to get in somebody's inbox offering to pay.
They also like don't have long-term relationships,
At
either
all.
of them.
I don't think they want them, but I don't think
But
they
it's
would.
also, but that's also like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of holes and a lot of like contradictions in their like rhetoric and things like that. And like they wouldn't dare have like a well-educated, articulate woman on their podcast because their whole shtick would just instantly fall apart.
Yeah.
What it is
I don't
that
think
there's quite a few different types of guys who can like talk to multiple women at once. It's like guys, you know, some guys they can have like a personality, they look good, and then you know you can have a whole lot of money. Like those are most of the time those are one of those three categories where you have men that can talk to multiple women at once. They are the guys who only have money. And so when you only have money, you can only talk to a particular type of woman.
Yeah.
And so that's what they get. But then, you know, they want to front like they're pulling all of these women.
Also,
and they're
their whole audience is also very young
Yeah.
men, very impressionable men who can't like really give a nuanced thought on the whole situation. And like, I don't know, all of it's pretty bad for feminism and just society. I don't think they're gay. I don't think society's benefiting from this whole like manosphere.
It isn't, but every time a woman has went on that podcast, they've said that they've made more money than they've ever made before that podcast.
I can see it.
From like OnlyFans and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Every
like,
single one of them.
and like, I can agree with some things with Fresh and Fit too. Like, I think like OnlyFans.
Are you?
I'm not.
Pill?
I don't know if red pills. I mean, like, okay, the porn industry and the sex industry has always been abusive, always been bad towards women. OnlyFans is just another drop in the bucket of a long history of sex work being bad for women and like being abusive for women. And like, it's also one of the only professions that a lot of women can do, or you know, can.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like the barrier to entry is so low as well, though, that like a lot of people who may have been pushed out of like normal jobs or conventional jobs or just even need a quick buck. Like,
it was some poet or something that did it, and I was really surprised. And I was like, if she did it, I think that, you know, she came on rough. Maya Angelou.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still alright.
Just imagine.
It's still alright. Your penis. Oh, yeah.
That was a terrible joke.
Sorry.
Your penis.
Sorry.
And like the easy commodification of it, I think is probably not great for like minds. I think it's probably warping people's opinions on women and relationships, and it's probably just like a net negative. I think the net positive, like overall, like I couldn't agree with that. And that like we've also kind of become, I think, TikTokified, like brain wise, like our attention spans are so fucked. And like it's really hard for people to really just like sit down and have like an actual conversation. Yeah. And like build a like meaningful friendship or relationship or anything with other people. It's a lot easier to swipe on Tinder and fuck a lot of people and then leave. And
if you're a woman.
But like if you want to like actually talk to someone and be like, so like, what are your fears in life? Like that's hard shit to do. Like,
I'm gonna be real. I've talked to some girls where sex is nothing to them, but if you start talking about like your past or you want to kiss on the lips,
this nigga
they're
weird.
like, whoa, no,
he's going too far.
No, that's too.
And that's probably not great for society.
Like if that's, I'm like, okay, that's Come on, we're not.
So these hot takes.
So like I can agree with some things that Fresh and Fit, but they go about it so badly and so poorly, and like these like young men are gonna become men at some point, and like if you're just like, yeah, women aren't shit and all this stuff, like they're gonna be employers, they're gonna be dads, they're gonna be husbands.
I don't know if they're gonna be employers.
They might not be dads either. If they follow that
at
advice,
this point, I don't think
they're gonna be losers. Just sitting there.
I did date someone for a brief period of time who was like MGTOW. Like,
how did you date him? He was going his own way.
That's what like when I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, that you didn't
You think you were dating him?
He was going his own way.
obviously not, but like,
That is.
but he was super red pilled, and I was like, cool.
What's crazy is that I think the most red pill thing that we thought growing up was the friend zone, which like now I don't care for the friend zone.
So the friend zone is real, but it's okay.
Yeah,
The thing that we were like wrong about is that it was like a death sentence or something. Like it was terrible. Think about being friends with a woman. Like people would say,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the friend zone is real. Like once you get to that friend zone, it's friends.
Yeah, but it's
it's-
not as bad as like.
It's not bad. That's what I'm saying.
But
like,
that was like our worst red pill thing that when we were growing up.
it
the
was
thing.
just like we were told it was something bad.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely hurts. Like, I've definitely been in the friend zone before as well, and it hurts. But it's also like,
It hurts
No one-
when you're
no-
expecting like to go further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
but like, also like, no one owes you anything in this life.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of my issue with Fresh and Fit in general is like, you know, like if a woman's like, oh, I only want to be with you for money, then just don't fucking go to someone else. Like,
The thing is, the
Tell her
thing
to
about
keep-
them that's stupid is that they flash their money. If you didn't flash your money, she probably wouldn't have said anything. But you flashed it, now she knows.
that's another thing is you can tell who has old money and who has new money by how they flash their money.
They're in Miami too.
Yeah.
It's
Miami's kind of crazy.
Some of the prettiest women I ever saw were in Miami, though.
I'm sure they could get a beautiful woman who if they moved to Alabama, I'm sure they could get a beautiful woman who,
Oh, they most definitely could.
who wants to just stay at home and raise their kids and
They
make
most
dinner.
definitely
But they don't
could.
want that. They say they want that, but they obviously don't want that.
What they want is a baddie that everybody else wants, that nobody else can have. And it's like, you can't.
They're saying that they don't want any. They want money from people that sign on and watch your videos. That's what they want.
And now they're the money.
Yeah, like we don't know what they want.
So what is the hottest take you've heard?
Hottest take that I heard or that I believe.
Go
The hottest take I heard probably was that with dating. If a guy don't fly you out, he's not.
Damn.
You got to pay for the airplane, the Uber, the room, and it can't be your room. It got to be another room.
Damn.
And
yeah.
she said if you don't do that, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's the hottest take, but nobody agreed with her. Like no, but
Damn, that is harsh.
yeah. But if you want to get to know her, I mean, she was pretty, but you know,
But
I could not imagine. What if you do all that and she suck? She's just not a good person.
that's a waste of investment.
Like what was that?
But then, like, the other crazy part about, like, what if you only got the good side of her because you were able to pay that?
Yeah, I mean,
She's obviously fishing for people who can afford that.
Yeah. Which, like, it's plenty of guys who can afford it. Rappers, NBA players, some NFL players.
What if you stay in the same city with her? Can you just pay a flat fee?
Oh, that is a good point. You know what? I think, so let's say we both lived in Miami. Bruh, that's a lot cheaper because you don't have to pay for a flight. Unless you was like, I need you to pay for a
actually
flight.
thinking about it. I was just joking.
Dude, why would you have to, like, why can't, so this is, like, in this hypothetical, like, she lives somewhere way farther than you. And, like, and you want to be, like, is it just to hook up?
No, I think it's to date.
No.
Okay, so-
because we're doing that, we only hook it up.
Yeah, I think that to meet her or to even like fathom dating her, you have to fly her out, get her a room, get her Ubers around.
Dude, when I see 90 Day Fiance and some of the money that these people shill out for these girls, I'm like,
But look at them. They got look at Big Ed.
Who's
You know
Big Ed?
oh yeah.
You know Big Ed.
I don't know Big Ed.
Big Ed is the coolest guy on the internet.
gotta
I
look
would
him up.
not say he's,
He's the coolest.
he's a
dude.
little cringe.
Yeah.
He
I
flies
like
him
his-
up.
Huh?
He flies him
Yeah.
up.
Look at Big Ed. Look up Big Ed. He told this girl her breath would smell bad. He looked like a bad breath in person.
Dude, and he also like bought her like
God damn.
He is the pickiest guy. He's actually like he got to be rich. I think he's a photographer. But
dude, he went to like the Philippines, like, and he was shocked that it was like not an amazing experience.
yeah, it's crazy. I like his shoulders. He got cool shoulders.
Philippines.
What?
I know somebody that's dating a girl from the Philippines.
I knew someone who got scammed from like he was gonna move to the Philippines for this girl, and it ended up being a catfish.
This guy didn't get scammed, so I can't say that. Like with all faith, with all what you call it, he did get scammed because he went to the Philippines. Her pictures changed a lot. Like I was like, I don't know if this is the same girl from the pictures before or this now, but like when he went over there, I was like, okay, so whichever girl he's been talking to recently, it's the exact same girl. So he didn't get scammed yet. Maybe she playing the long game with the scam.
I don't know.
Green card? You're trying to get a green card?
But what do you think
Maybe.
Big Ed think about Obama's?
About Obama's cook?
Yeah.
Probably thought he should have been
Bro,
there.
like, I don't know, man. I just go to Philippines.
I don't. Damn, Big Ed. Like,
We're
Big
just all
Ed
over the
is
place.
just one hot take. Like I can't.
Yeah, I just want to. I see him and I don't want to become Big
I
Ed.
don't either.
You don't want to
Makes you
become
want
Big
to
Ed.
work out?
Yeah, just all shoulder exercises. But
You see, he ain't got no neck.
yeah, it's just all shoulders. But yeah, Big Ed is cool. Man. If you look at young pictures of Big Ed, you like, okay, I get it. Like he was pulling back in the day, but all that weight went to his shoulders.
Yeah, he ain't got no neck. He got a V-neck on. It just look like he is.
It's just a V. He got an L neck on. What is? Let me see.
Yeah. This picture, it looked like he just got like it ends at his chin.
He look like a Ninja Turtle villain. That is insane. Yeah, let's stop talking about Big Ed. He's actually cool.
I go on to my hottest take. Oh, dang it, I need to charge my watch before bed. The hottest take that I ever heard, and I was like, this just can't be real. This woman was like, she doesn't want to talk to a guy who has a 9-to-5 because she may want to go to the Caribbean at any time.
Yeah.
And
So
with the 9
go.
to 5. But she was saying like she don't want to date a
She
guy who
wanna
has a
do-
9 to 5 because he got to take the time off, and she may want to go.
Well, just
tomorrow.
go on your own.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, you want a guy who can work whenever he wants.
Or he take the days off and you pay him since you got so much money.
Yeah,
You pay him for the days he would have
The
worked.
Caribbean, like you can get to the Caribbean kind of you can do it. You can bum it if your only mission is to go to the Caribbean. Like you can get there.
Yeah.
Like,
but she didn't want a guy who wanted a 9 to 5. Period.
but like,
So like you could be a millionaire with a 9 to 5, and she was like, no, I need you to not be.
you could just be someone who has good PTO policy. Like, like,
Your time off?
Yeah.
literally, you can't just like plan it a month in advance, like 2 months in advance. Like
Yeah.
you really got to go. Like you wake up
Tomorrow.
and you're like, bitch, I need you to pay for the flight. Like pack your bags.
Yeah.
Like
Let's go.
pay everything at like top price because we're choosing it right now. Like I don't know if this is a hot relationship take, but I don't really not agree, but like there's definitely like women and like older women in my life who like are like, man, I would have loved to have gone to Europe or gone out, but like my husband would never go to that, or like even like people now like won't
Yeah.
go out without their boyfriends or like their husbands and stuff. And I'm like, bitch, like you can go on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe it's the fear. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's the fear that if I go to Europe on my own, I get kidnapped, and now my husband has to be in a taking situation.
Or
He's
what if
not
they
Liam
meet?
Neeson.
What if they meet Antonio Banderas, and he want to take them out? They can't resist, and then now their husband is at home, missile defense in Huntsville. This dark town.
I think there is fears. I think there is fears, but also it's like I've definitely been more scared for like my safety, like in the United States, than I ever have like in another country.
Oh, wow.
Like low key, when I was walking in like Santa Fe, like New Mexico at night, like that was the scariest I've ever. Like there was a dude on meth or probably crystal meth. Like I was walking. I was walking with another guy, but so like you know how there's like suicide lanes in here, like you get into left lanes to turn. So this meth head like was in the left lane, and this other car was trying to like turn, and he was like screaming and trying to open his car and stuff. And we're like walking right by him. I'm like, I hope to God he doesn't like look over here and start coming over here. Like I'm so scared. And like I don't know, the homeless people here like are not actively combative.
Yeah.
Like when I was in New Mexico, like they were actively like heckling us and like following us, and I was like, I'm a little scared.
It's kind of like that in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta,
Atlanta, you got to worry about the water boys too. Have you ever heard about that?
Is it just jacking cars or?
No. It's what they do was you probably, unless you drive like a BMW or something fancy. What it is that a bunch of little kids run up to your car and be like, "Hey, you want to buy some water to help you raise funds?" Just aggressive as hell. Like,
yeah, you know we got a guy like that in Dothan right now.
Really?
It's just one kid. I don't know if I don't know if he's from Atlanta. He's like, I'm gonna do this. This town is gonna be. I'm gonna take over this town. But yeah, he just stand in front of the liquor store. He don't even sell like water. He sell sunflower seeds.
What?
Yeah, he had like a little container full of sunflower seeds. He was like, I'm selling sunflower seeds for $1. I'm like, man, I don't have cash. I'm not.
yeah. Nobody.
And
has
then
cash.
I don't know where those sunflower seeds been.
Yeah.
No. No.
You kind of got lucky here in Huntsville that they don't heckle you because I've had people follow me. Like a dude came up to me at Walmart one time, and I think he thought that he scammed me. He was like, "Yeah, I got this dude." I gave him the $5 because he followed me from the back of Walmart to the front of Walmart, and I was like, I'd rather give him the $5 now so he don't try to rob me, and I have to like fight or anything.
Dude, in DC, not in DC, it was in Nova, but I was walking out of a Walmart and there was a dude standing in the parking lot. Like he's standing like right in the center of the parking lot, like not near any cars or anything. And I walk by him, and like I start walking to my car, and like I can feel like the sense that he's like following me.
Yeah.
I get into my car, I lock it. He tries to open my door, like tries to just straight up open my door. He was speaking Spanish, and I just literally was like, no hablo en español, like goodbye. Like I'm gassing it. I'm leaving. Like terrifying experience.
That is a scary experience.
That's real scary.
Yeah. I'm glad you're alive.
Yeah, and I probably should have reported it, but I was just like so frazzled after that trip to Walmart. I just like literally just went to my apartment and went to bed. Like I was like, no.
That's a great way to sleep off your trauma.
Yeah.
On that, because we've been going for a pretty long time.
Like 3 hours. I don't know.
Almost 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and end it there.
Yeah, just look into the Obama Cook thing.
And
That's all
MK
I'm
Ultra.
saying. MK Ultra.
Now the FBI finna be at our house. You know the FBI is here in Huntsville, right?
I'm already on the list.
As long as you're not like that dude in Utah threatening to kill anybody, I think you'd be good.
No, I'm not threatening to kill nobody. And well, except for all the really, really rich people, we should bring the guillotines back. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm not ready for this. He's like, I got own private security.
I'm joking. Hey.
I just want a little bit of your dollar, though. Just give me $1.
Yeah.
All right,
Should spread it.